Hello everyone, Dr. Rush here again. I'm sorry about the background being a little cluttered. I'm still new to YouTube and figuring out the best time, place, etc. to record a video. So the reason I'm recording this video is as a follow-on, as part of my insulin resistance series, a follow-on from the last couple of videos asking you if you know what insulin resistance is, explaining why the human gene pool has evolved to have such high levels of insulin resistance in the population, and how it really is obesity in those with insulin resistance is not because insulin resistance is a terrible thing that needs to be conquered, but that we need to match our environment with our genes. So does that mean that we don't need to count calories? Calories are nothing. Calories are meaningless. Calories, what is a calorie? It's like a myth. It's like the Loch Ness monster of dieting. It's a myth. Well, no. Let's quickly just define what a calorie is. So a calorie is a unit of energy that when they burn a particular amount of food is released. And when we ourselves utilize energy to do all the processes of the body, I'm just going to turn my heater off. When we ourselves utilize energy to engage in all the processes of the body, those units of energy that we also burn off can also be measured in calories. So calories are energy that we consume that then can later be burned. So if we use more calories than we consume, then we lose weight because our body then draws on stored calories in the form of glycogen in your liver and muscles, and stored calories in the form of fat. And if we consume more calories than we use, then we store the calories as glycogen or fat. Now, so does that mean that it's all about the amount of exercise we do? Well, actually, exercise is actually very important. Don't listen to all the stuff out there saying, oh, it doesn't matter how much you exercise, weight loss is in the kitchen. I can tell you it is much, much harder to lose weight if you're not moving. And exercise doesn't have to be a gym membership and a big workout. 10,000 steps a day can be a start. So I find, personal anecdote, if I'm walking 10,000 steps a day, then I can stick to my weight loss goals much more easily than if I am sedentary. 10,000 steps a day is a start. And also just a couple of resistance exercises, planks and squats. But actually the activity, the intentional activity we do is not nearly as important as the incidental activity or the activity of daily living, nor is it as important as the basal metabolic rate. So incidental activity is activity just from doing simple things every day. When the activity it takes for you to get out of bed, have your shower, put on your clothes, make your breakfast and eat it, that just those activities of moving your muscles and using your brain to think and plan burns up calories. The activities of walking up and down stairs, the activities of walking to and from the bathroom, walking to and from the lift, walking to and from your office, those are all incidental activity. And more important than that is the basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of energy required just to keep your body functioning. So to keep your chest going up and down, to breathe, to keep your heart beating, to keep your cells turning over, breaking down and making new cells and proteins, to keep your organs functioning. All of those things that we do, even when we're asleep, burn actually most of the calories that we consume. And you can increase that actually by increasing your muscle mass, because muscle has so many mitochondria. And mitochondria are the energy burning batteries. The more muscle you have, the more mitochondria you have, and the more energy you burn just at rest. So having a appropriate amount of muscle, not turning into a complete muscle head, because that's not actually good for you either, but having an appropriate amount of muscle for your body is really good for you. Women will tend to not put on too much muscle such that it impacts with their health. Men who are bodybuilders could go overboard and end up with more muscle than their cardiovascular system is designed for. So I would get the advice of a good exercise physiologist if you wanted to get into bodybuilding, and just ask for some sensible goals. Now, so why do I harp on about insulin resistance if it's all about calories? Like, why do I even bother with telling you how to eat if you've got insulin resistance if it's just about calories? Well, as people with insulin resistance can tell you, insulin resistance drives food seeking. You eat your meal, your cells are resistant to insulin, your insulin goes up really high to overcome that resistance, and the side effect of high insulin is a bunch of hormonal changes that actually drive food seeking, because insulin is an anabolic hormone, it's a storage hormone. So it drives you to go out and seek more food to store. So if you eat in a way that works with your insulin resistance, and I covered that in the last video, the 5 or 6 ways to eat and move to make you more insulin sensitive, then you naturally end up consuming less calories. So if you don't eat between meals, you give your cells a chance to recover between hits of insulin, and that keeps the cell receptors sensitive. If you eat portion-controlled carbs, protein, and a little bit of fat, and lots of veggies, then your blood sugar rise and fall is slow and steady, and that means that your insulin peak is nice and smooth and not too high, and so you don't get all the nasty side effects of high insulin and hunger. If you fast overnight, again, you give your receptors a break. If you drink plenty of water, you don't end up mistaking hunger for thirst. If you exercise, you keep your cells resistant to insulin, which again reduces the amount of insulin needed and reduces the drive to hunger. So I do both. I eat in a way that is sensible and designed for someone with insulin resistance. I fast overnight. I try not to eat between meals. I watch my carbs. But I use a calorie counting app. The one I like to use is Lose It. It's $60 for the year for the the premium version. You can get the free version of that. You can use MyFitnessPal. You can just use a paper and a pen and a calorie counting book. And I actually keep my calories around about 1,800 a day, although it sneaks up to 2,000 and I get away with that. Now, I actually had my metabolism tested and I'm low. My metabolism is actually low. So they're telling me I need 1,300 calories to lose weight, but I found that I don't need that. But yeah, when they tested it, it's low, which is actually good, because they found that people who have a slow and low metabolism produce less oxygen-free radicals, metabolize more slowly, and that preserves their bodies, because one of the side effects of a high metabolism is not just being slim, but producing all the byproducts of metabolism, all these oxygen-free radicals and oxidant molecules that gradually wear down and rust out your body. And so those of us with a slow metabolism, that process is slower, so we last longer, we look younger, and we live longer. So I'll take it. I'll take the slower metabolism. I kind of knew that because I've always had a low body temperature. And I did a bit of self-monitoring some years ago, and my body temperature was always on the low side. So in lockdown, when you go into a restaurant or into a establishment, a facility, work, when they take your temperature, I'm always not recordable. So it's quite funny. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, I'm alive. So yeah, so I hope that helps explain how insulin resistance fits in with calorie counting. Eating an insulin resistant diet where you are discouraging the side effects of high insulin by keeping your insulin spikes and peaks moderated, helps with hunger, which ultimately reduces the calories you take in. And then the movement and activity you do and the muscle you lay down helps with calories out. Thanks.